Are relationships worth the bother? I haven't been in a relationship now for many years. I've lived on my own for a long time. By relationship, I'm referring to some kind of exclusive partnership. I suppose romantic partnership, not necessarily living together, but spending a lot of time together, sharing a life together. I haven't had that now, as I say, for a long time. Do I miss it? I miss some aspects of it, but I'm not sure that I miss it entirely. I like living on my own. I like having the freedom to watch what I want to watch when I want to watch it, to read if I want to read, to eat when I want to eat, to fart when I want to fart. I like having my own space. I like thinking to myself, oh, look, I should really clean the floors, but stuff it, that can wait until tomorrow. I don't particularly like the idea of sharing a bathroom. I only have the one bathroom here, and seeing it cluttered with other people's stuff doesn't appeal to me. Nevertheless, a lot of people have long term relationships. I mean, long term relationships. They are together for most of their life. Now, I've had long term relationships. I've had two marriages, which were, I guess, not particularly long term in the sense that they only lasted 7 years. Nevertheless, 7 years is a long time to share one's life and one's space with someone. One of those relationships produced children, and I'm, of course, enormously grateful for that, and I celebrate that. I've had one longer relationship of about 12 or 13 years, which was not a marriage, but we lived together, we shared our time together. So, in many ways, it was more important than either of the marriages. It's certainly longer lasting than either of the marriages. And since that relationship ended many years ago now, I've had a few brief relationships, if you can call them that, that lasted a few months, dated a few times here and there. But over the last probably 4 or 5 years, I haven't even dated. I think one of the reasons I haven't dated, well, there are probably several, but let's consider this one first, is that when I do go into a dating relationship, I don't really see it as just a casual thing to have some fun with someone. I probably do see it as the potential of a longer term relationship. And perhaps it's wrong to go into dating with that in mind. I'd be interesting to know what you think about that. One of the other reasons I don't date is because I have no money. And even if we share the costs of things, I can't really afford to go out and do the things that you have to do when you're dating. So I enjoy time on my own. I like my own space. I like doing my own thing. I don't have the money that it takes to date, and so on. There are other aspects, of course, too. I mean, I have a particular personality, and anyone that I meet and date and start to have a relationship with is going to have a personality too. Unfortunately, we can't seem to avoid having personalities, and inevitably, those personalities are going to clash at certain points. And my sense is that over time, the places where the personalities clash begin to become more important than the places where they mesh and meld. Again, is that your experience? The people who've been in long term relationships, do they stay in those relationships because they are still rich and enriching? Or do they stay in them out of habit? Is it just too difficult to leave? You're used to the situation, so you stay there rather than stepping out and going on your own, which can be a terrifying experience for people, perhaps particularly for women. At least in days gone by, that would have been the case. And certainly, if there are children, it's a very difficult thing to do. So, is it just that it's sometimes easier to stay in a relationship than to end a relationship? Possibly. Again, I'd love your opinion about this. And one of the things I do miss about not being in a relationship is the physical aspect of the relationship. Yeah, sex. Let's say the word sex. But one thing I'm sure about is the sexual relationship always inevitably cools. No matter what we try to tell ourselves, it always cools. And so after a while, you have to be left with something else. You have to be left with the companionship, the mutual support, all of those things that I assume go into making a good relationship. I guess perhaps in the end, I'm just too selfish. For one thing, I just like having my own time to do my own thing. I guess my personality is too difficult. I think other people will get tired of me, even if I don't get tired of them. There are going to be inevitable clashes and rubbing together uncomfortably, not in the nice way. If I had more money, would I venture again into another relationship? I'm not sure. Would I venture into dating? But how can you be sure, even in that dating stage, that both people want the same thing? Also, about that initial dating stage, there's something very artificial about it. There we are, both putting on our best faces, putting on our best appearances, being on our best behavior. And inevitably, as people get closer and they spend more time together, it becomes harder and harder to maintain those facades, those games that we play to keep each other. Let's be honest again, we are playing games at that stage in the relationship, trying to impress the other person, trying to make ourselves attractive to them, and vice versa. And after a while, as those disguises and fronts begin to break away and we see the real person, then do we like what we see? So I don't like the dating process itself, and I probably dread even more the end of that initial dating process. So those of you out there who are in long-term relationships of several years, please tell me, how are they working for you? Are they working for you? Would you secretly rather not be in the relationship? I promise I won't say a word to anyone.